Hey Browns fans! The Browns lost a game they should have won against the New York Giants. We had every chance to take advantage of their mistakes, but we just couldn't get the job done. Today, we're talking about who's on the up and who needs to improve. Before we dive into today's exclusive report, be sure to hit the like button to stay up to date with all the latest Browns news. We have a lot to cover after Week 3, so let's get right to it. First, let's start with a positive. After struggling in the first two games, Cooper bounced back in a big way in Week 3. He was a bright spot for our offense, catching 7 passes for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. He made an immediate impact, setting the tone with a big play from the first snap. Cooper showed exactly why he's still one of the best receivers in the league, using his sharp footwork to get open and make some crucial catches on the sideline. While the offense as a whole struggled, Cooper proved that he can be a consistent threat going forward. Hopefully this game will give him the momentum to string together more great performances. But now, let's talk about Martin Emerson Jr. Unfortunately, Emerson hasn't had the best start to the season. He's been targeted 17 times and has given up 11 receptions. His PFF grade is 43.0, which isn't what we need from him. In Sunday's game, Malik Neighbors had a big day, much of it with Emerson in coverage instead of Denzel Ward. There's no doubt Emerson has the potential to be special, but he needs to elevate his game if the defense is going to help us win more games. And now we have our kick coverage unit. Special teams don't always get the spotlight, but they've been doing a solid job lately. In the last 2 weeks, they've forced a fumble, although one was called back due to a penalty. This week, the Giants haven't returned a single kick beyond the 30-yard line. That's a win, especially when you think about where they would have started on a touchback. It's great to see this unit making an impact. Let's not forget about our offensive line. It's a huge issue right now, and it's not just one player. The entire line struggled against the Giants. Deshaun Watson faced constant pressure, getting tackled 8 times, which is simply unacceptable. The line was unable to give Watson the protection he needed, and it showed. To make matters worse, we have injuries piling up. Jedrick Wills Jr., DeJuan Jones, and Wyatt Teller all left the game with injuries. While Jones was able to return, there's a chance Teller could end up on IR, and the team has yet to provide an update on Wills. So, Browns fans, what do you think? Will Amari Cooper keep this momentum going? Can Martin Emerson Jr. turn things around? And how concerned are you about the offensive line going forward? After Sunday's 21-15 loss to the Giants, there's been a lot of talk about Watson's performance, especially whether he's actually seeing the field as well as he should be. We all know he's been criticized for missing a few open receivers, but let's take a look at what's really going on. Watson was under fire all game, getting sacked a career-high 8 times and hitting a total of 17 times. That's a tough day at the office for any quarterback. It's easy to point fingers, but the truth is that poor protection played a big part in his struggles. Coach Kevin Stefanski didn't shy away from that either in his Monday press conference, spreading the blame evenly across the board. Stefanski was quick to defend his QB, saying, "I think he sees the field really well. He's a veteran, he's played in a lot of games, he understands different looks. He's seeing things before we even talk about it on the sideline." He acknowledged that the Browns need to play better as a unit, and let's be honest, after a game like Sunday's, that's no surprise. So what went wrong? Watson finished 21 of 37 for 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, earning a passer rating of 89.5. Not terrible numbers considering the heat he was in, but here's where things get tricky. He also lost a fumble that led to a Giants touchdown just before halftime, putting them up 21-7. Despite all that, Watson still had 3 chances in the fourth quarter to come back, but key mistakes, including a critical call on a 4th and 1, sealed the Browns' fate. Watson explained that on that play, he read the defense and saw that his receivers were covered, so he kept the ball and tried to run for the first down. He fell short. He said, "I'm not thinking about just throwing to cover. I tried to get the first down, but they stopped short." Now, could he have hit tight end Jordan Akins in the flat? Maybe. But it's easy to doubt from the couch. Even Stefanski backed Watson, acknowledging the complexity of the play and saying, "There are always plays you want back." Akins himself defended Watson, reminding us that it was an RPO. At the end of the day, he can give it, he can pass it. We were all in the right positions, and Deshaun made the best play he thought he could. Now, some critics pointed out that Watson might have held onto the ball a bit too long at times, but we all know that's part of his game. He's always been a quarterback who believes he can escape pressure and make something happen, which has often led to incredible plays. The problem is, right now, Watson has been sacked 16 times in just 3 games, more than any Browns quarterback in the first 3 games of a season since 1970. Ouch! Stefanski was clear that the blame for those sacks doesn't fall entirely on Watson. It's everybody, he said, from the coaches to the offensive line, tight ends, running backs, and receivers. We can't let him get hit that many times. That's not good enough, and that will get fixed. After the game, Watson mentioned that the Giants' defense threw them some unexpected looks. The Giants attacked 57% of Watson's dropbacks, much higher than the 25% they'd shown in their previous games. That definitely caught the Browns off guard, but Stefanski acknowledged that this is the NFL, where blitzing tendencies are part of the game. Adjustments need to be made quickly, especially early in the season. Akins agreed that the blitz-heavy game plan caught them off guard. They came out smoking, man. Blitzing left and right, he said. And once the Giants saw they were having success, they didn't let up. While adjustments were made during the game, it wasn't enough to keep Watson clean or get the offense back on track. The injuries to the offensive line certainly didn't help either. Wyatt Teller is out with a sprained MCL, and both Jed Wills Jr. and James Hudson III are dealing with knee and shoulder issues, respectively. It's unclear if either of them will be ready for the next game. And let's not forget Jack Conklin, who was cut Saturday due to a hamstring injury. The offensive line is banged up, and it won't get any easier when they face the Raiders next Sunday. Despite all of these setbacks, Stefanski refused to use the offensive line's issues as an excuse. That's the NFL for you, he said. Week after week, teams face new challenges, and it's up to the Browns to find a way to be efficient and explosive no matter who's on the field. But let's end on a positive note, Browns fans. Watson and Amari Cooper appear to have found their groove, with Cooper catching 7 passes for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. And there's hope that David Njoku, who's been dealing with an ankle injury, could return this week. His presence wouldn't just help the passing game, but also the blocking for Watson. The Raiders have one of the worst defenses in the league, ranking 30th overall and allowing 27 points per game. If there's ever a time for Watson and the Browns to bounce back, it's now. As Akins said, we've been here before. In Houston, we started 0-3 and turned it around and won 11 in a row. We just need to make some adjustments and keep Deshaun positive. So, Browns fans, what do you think? Can Watson turn things around and lead us to a win against the Raiders? How do you feel about the O-line issues? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. And hey, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe so you never miss any of the latest Browns news. Go Browns!